Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me for another video. This is Quita from AtHomeWithQuita, and here I share tips on how to plan a balanced life. So if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 tips on how to effectively create habits. So creating habits is really hard. You have a lot of motivation in the beginning, so the first day is always easy. And then the second comes, and then the third comes, and it's not so easy anymore. And you start putting things off. And then the fourth day comes, and then you start missing a day, and so on and so forth. It's a vicious cycle, and I understand how you feel when it comes to habits. And so the end game for some of you is to just stop doing it altogether. And that is not what we want. We want to make sure that the habits that we want to create, we can do so effectively so that they continue long term. You can implement them in your life and you can make sure that you're consistent and they end up helping you. That's what you all want. And it really is worth it. So here's my first tip. Start small. And this tip cannot be stressed enough. Going to the gym and working out for an hour and a half every day would be a great goal, but be honest with yourself with what you can realistically do. Is this going to be hard to keep up with? It's better to start off with a smaller habit that you're trying to create, like doing 15 minutes of cardio when you wake up in the morning. That's a small enough habit that you should be able to achieve. And after you create that habit, you can start building on it. Plus, try to make it a habit of something that you actually want to do. It's really hard to try and force yourself to do something that you really don't want to do. So if you're trying to exercise more, do something like going for a walk if you don't like running, or maybe taking a dance class if you don't like walking or running. Do something that you actually would enjoy doing that doesn't necessarily feel like working out. Tip number 2. Schedule your new habit into your day. Decide what habit that you're trying to do and make sure to schedule that habit into your day. For example, let's say you want to listen to more podcasts or read. You may choose to do those things during breakfast since you're already sitting down at the table, so you can multitask and do both of those things. And even if you only listen to a little bit of the podcast or read a little bit of the book, it all counts towards your habits. It's about small wins. And try to keep those things nearby. Maybe use some sort of prompt to remind yourself to keep up with that habit. So leave your tablet somewhere on the table so that when you see it during breakfast time, leave that book there. So that way it's in front of you and it'll make sure that you don't forget to keep up with that habit. And we'll get more into that with tip number 4. Tip number 3, use a habit tracker. Most of us here are all planners, so we have some sort of planning system in place, so you can easily just pop in a page of a habit tracker that can help you to keep up with that habit. And make sure that you check off those things as you're doing them on your habit tracker. And it's okay if you miss a day. You should be more concerned with getting back on track if that happens. Tip number 4 is to use a prompt. So what do I mean by that? You want to prompt yourself to do certain things. For example, when you see your bed, what do you think about? You think about sleeping. So that bed prompts you to let you know that that's what you want to do, go to sleep. So you want to think of a prompt that will immediately get you thinking about that habit. And here's some ways you can do that. Do that habit right after you do something else. Like you eat breakfast, then do the dishes. Also, have your habit in plain sight. Like that book you're trying to read, leave it lying on the table so that way you see it during breakfast time and you're more likely to pick it up and make sure you implement that habit. And try not to have all of your prompts all in the same place, like doing your homework at that same table you want to read or listen to a podcast at, because what is it going to really prompt you to want to do? Now, if that works for you, go for it. I'm just giving you some tips that may be able to help. Tip number 5, don't worry about missing a day, okay? Take it easy on yourself. If you miss one day, that is entirely fine. If you miss a few days, then it might be time to go back to the drawing board so you can figure out why your habit isn't working working for you. And then you can modify it and try again. Not every habit is going to work for you, and that's how it should be. Plus, you might try out a new habit after you do it once. You realize it's too much for you to do every day. So instead of trying to do it and then failing after a few days, just modify the habit and try again. Tip number 6, it doesn't have to be an everyday habit. Maybe you want to create a habit, but you only want to do it once a week. Since you don't need to do it every day, it won't really start to become a routine for you. You'll probably want to use some sort of reminder system to help you to remember to do it. So that habit tracker that we talked about earlier should definitely help. And the final tip, tip number 7, is don't procrastinate. And I know that's hard. So don't procrastinate on your habit. And if you aren't excited at all about this habit, then something needs to be changed. And remember, creating habits take time. So be patient and don't be disappointed if you're having trouble creating your habits. When you feel like giving up on that habit, it's really time to go back to the drawing board and make some changes. And then you can try it again. So that is it, guys. Those are my 7 tips to help you in creating your next habit. I really hope they helped in some way. So thank you guys so much for joining me today on this video. I hope that you will continue to keep watching At Home with Quita. I appreciate you stopping by today. Hopefully you'll give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what tip you found most helpful and how you're going to start to implement some of your habits in 2022. Thanks so much for stopping by again. I hope you'll come back and join me for another video, in which case I'll see you guys then.